everyone, to Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM. This is the 8th episode of the show. Thanks to those listening on the TuneIn app. Please don't forget to subscribe to the IMTM Worldwide Radio YouTube page. You're scrolling on the bottom. You can watch all of our live streams there. And just a quick reminder, the reason you tune in to Around the ATL each and every week is not only are we talking about the teams that you care about weekly, giving us our thoughts about your teams, but also talking about the teams you might not know much about and giving them coverage as well. So we work to include all teams in Atlanta and Georgia, so don't forget about that, and thanks for the support. Tonight's show is brought to you by SouthernClassicTransportation.com. Make sure you call 404-291-0150 and ask for Dennis. They're the best limo service in Atlanta, Georgia. They'll take you within the city and out of the city as well. Also, imtmworldwideimages.com, or you can call 706-393-8426. If you need photos of any kind, make sure you contact them and let them both know that Around the ATL sent you. That being said, I also want to mention our contributors for the show: Jamal Price of Price Design Club, artist Ram One, and producer Calcutta out of Atlanta, and Yolanda Elder Strong. Thank you for what you've done so far to keep Around the ATL going. We appreciate you very much. Let's go ahead and bring in our co-host for tonight's show, longtime Atlanta sports fan and sports writer who's always around the ATL, Jordan Jackson. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Chris? I'm glad to be on Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM. Just keeping a finger on the pulse of all that's going on in Atlanta and Georgia sports. And as always, there is a lot going on. So with that being said, sir, let's talk about it.
Well, first and foremost, we know it's free agency time, so I got to go ahead and play this real quick. The draft ain't that far away, is it? But right now it's NFL free agency. So let's talk about it. So right now, Grady Jarrett, we have to talk about him. He is one of the last players from the Super Bowl team from a few years ago. He was released recently. He did a lot for the city. He did a lot for the team. He is now a Chicago Bear. Drew Dahlman, also a Chicago Bear. Richie Grant went to San Francisco. What have the Falcons done so far? Well, we kept Jake Matthews for an extra 2 years. We brought back Mike Hughes. We did go out and sign linebacker Divine Diablo and edge rusher from the 49ers, Leonard Floyd. He had 66 sacks since 2016, 8.5 last year. However, is that enough? Are we making enough moves to become a contender again? And a lot of people are very upset right now because it doesn't seem like the Falcons are doing anything. In fact, they're so upset.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
All of a sudden, they're sounding like Darth Vader. It's kind of scary there. So, Jordan, what has to happen for the Atlanta Falcons to start making some moves to actually affect what happens on the field every year?
Well, first of all, we just got to continue to add talent to the defensive side of the ball, Chris, and especially the pass rush. And now the signing of Leonard Floyd makes sense. He's from Georgia. He's a Georgia Bulldog. He also has a relationship with Raheem Morris, having played under Morris with the Rams in Los Angeles. He was on the 2021 Super Bowl team, in fact. And so that signing, while a good veteran signing to help mentor guys like Arnold Ebiketie and Braylon Trice, him alone is not enough to fix this pass rush. That being said, I'd like to see us go out and make a trade for Trey Hendrickson of the Cincinnati Bengals. All-pro defensive end this past season, 17.5 sacks each of the last 2 years. Now, if you're able to make the trade, you are going to have to pay him a large amount of money, but that's okay because NFL contracts can be kind of moved around and structured to where you wouldn't take a big cap hit on him this year, and then his bigger cap hit numbers could go up the following year once we get a certain backup quarterback off of our books, sir.
Which we hope happens soon, but you know how that goes sometimes too, Jordan. I mean, let me see if I can find that one real quick because I have to play this one just because you mentioned that particular quarterback. I don't know if I can find it now. Here we go.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
We might feel this for a long time unless we are able to pull that off. So right now we don't have a lot of people on the board anymore. I see Von Miller is still out there as a possible pass rusher. There's not a lot of defensive tackles. So again, back to Jordan, it looks like trade is going to be the only way to get some pressure on the quarterback, hopefully, unless we can do something with the backup quarterback and get him off the books. And we'll see what can happen. So that being said, let's go ahead and translate over to our Atlanta Hawks, our beloved Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta. Now, if you've been listening to Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM for the last 7 weeks, you know at the very start, I mentioned that on October 2nd of last year, I predicted the Atlanta Hawks would finish 6th in the Eastern Conference. That was before all the injuries at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, the trade deadline happened and everything. We got a brand new team almost right now, right? And it didn't look like it could happen until the last few weeks have passed. The Hawks are now in the midst of a 3-game win streak. And as of recording of this show, they are 7th in the East, okay, leading the division by 1.5 games. And they're 5 games out of 6, that is, 5.5 out of 5th, and 6 out of 4th, believe it or not. Crazy, right? Now, no matter how this regular season ends, this team is much better than last year's team, okay? Zach, our rookie, is playing like the rookie of the year. Dyson is playing at an ultimate level right now. Okongwu has been very consistent. The bench with Niang, Karras, and Mann have stepped in and stepped up. In this 3-game win streak, they beat the Pacers back-to-back and Philly without Trey. So, Jordan, how do you feel about the Hawks and how they can finish this season up?
I feel that the Hawks have a great chance to secure the 7th spot, which would mean a home game to start off the play-in tournament. They have now opened up a 1.5 game lead on both Orlando and Miami, who are in 8th and 9th place. I know you mentioned the 6th spot, Chris. I just think it's going to be too much of an obstacle to overcome to get to the 6th spot. 5.5 games back with 17 games to play is quite a bit. It's going to take a catastrophic losing streak by one of the 3 teams directly above us, whether that be Milwaukee, Indiana, or Detroit, and a long winning streak where the Hawks get hotter than fish grease in order to for us to get to the 6th seed. But, at least with the 7th seed, we would have a home game. And if for some reason we didn't win said home game, we would have another home game with a chance to grab the 8th seed and advance on to the playoffs.
So the Pacers are 5-5 in their last 10. The Bucks are on a current 3-game losing streak themselves. The Pistons have won 2 in a row. I think 17 games is a little bit of a wiggle room. I think, again, the pressure is much more on everybody above the Hawks than vice versa, I think. So I think they do have a chance to maybe make some moves there, especially with how they're winning some of these games. They're able to prevent some of the points in the paint sometimes. They're hitting some big shots at the same time as well. Of course, Trae Young has been distributing the ball at an all-star, superstar level, obviously. And I think they have an opportunity to get to the playoffs. Now, let's say they do make the playoffs. Let's say whether or not they make the play-in and or the 6th seed and move on, they make the playoffs. Jordan, will making the playoffs make a difference in regards to the franchise going forward, in regards to being able to get some more players into the organization or make a trade here? Or, can they make better decisions on the draft side of things to where the next 5 to 10 years we can actually be a contender and not a pretender? What do you think?
Sports Radio 92.1 FM, SportsVisions. Thank you for listening to your folks on Around the ATL. First of all, I do want to say congratulations to Trae Young for being named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Led the Hawks to that 3-1 record during the week. It averaged 25 points and 13 assists for those 4 games that he played in. As far as winning goes, making the playoffs and winning always matters, Chris. One of the biggest things it would do is give Zachary Ricochet, our rookie number 1 overall draft pick, his first taste of playoff action so he can get a real feel for how much more physical the playoffs is, how much more of a half-court game the playoffs can be at times. And that will help him a lot in the long run. With that being said, it's a shame that Jalen Johnson isn't here to get even more experience as well. But to have this group just play together and to have a chance to make adjustment for a 7-game series would definitely help. It would also help in terms of bringing in future players and free agents. And now I don't think the Hawks are going to have a whole bunch of money to play with as far as free agency goes. But should the team decide to actually use their mid-level exception, you have a better chance at getting, some real quality vets with that mid-level exception if they view you as a playoff team that's closer to be able to take that step from a playoff team to a contending team.
And I believe that this is the point of no return for the Hawks, really, in regards to saying we're actually going to build a winning team. We need that winning attitude back, because we had it 4 years ago because we were 2 games away from getting to the finals. And for some reason, the organization said, well, let's go backwards now for all this time, when you have a lot of talent that's come through the organization. So I'm hoping that we can make the playoffs, make a dent in the playoffs. Anything can happen once you make the playoffs. Nothing can happen if you don't make the playoffs, and that's pretty obvious, right? So as we get ready to transition into the second half of our show, everyone, make sure you subscribe to the IMTM Worldwide Radio YouTube channel, because you get to see more of Around the ATL to follow up on more Falcons and Hawks talk as well. So when we come back, we're going to get to talk about some great high school basketball in Georgia that's been going on, as well as college, and a whole bunch of other teams on Around the ATL. We're going to take a quick break, so don't go anywhere. This is Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM.
You're listening to Around the ATL with Chris and Jordan. We'll be right back with more Atlanta sports talk.
And we are back. This is Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM. So let's go ahead and talk some high school basketball. Jordan, I know you have a lot of ball to talk about, so go ahead and get started with Atlanta, sir.
All right, Chris. With the 6A finals championship game, you had Wheeler out of Marietta defeat Newton out of Covington 61-56. The title is Wheeler's 10th in history and 4th under Coach Larry Thompson. Girls 6A, you had Newton 59, Grayson 56. London Smith led Newton with 23 points and 11 rebounds. 5A championship game, Tri-Cities out of East Point defeated Woodward Academy, which is just up the road in College Park, 66-55. Jalen Wingfield had 20 points and 19 rebounds. For the 5A girls, River Ridge out of Woodstock finished the season 30-1 with a 52-47 win over Langston Hughes in Fairburn. Out of Fairburn, that was just their second loss, so that was a real Clash of the Titans matchup. That was the attack for River Ridge, with Joy Tashambi scoring a career-high 13 points and Kayla Canty scoring 12. 4A boys finals, North Oconee 60, Pace Academy 51. North Oconee finished with an excellent 30-2 record. Justin Wise scored 27 points and had 7 boards. Girls 4A, Creekside out of Fairburn 57, Maynard Jackson out of Atlanta 37. Creekside finished as the only team in boys or girls basketball to go the whole way undefeated, 32-0. The India Dennis, the Regionals Player of the Year, had 22 points, 6 assists, 5 boards, and 3 steals. 3A boys, Sandy Creek, 39. 39. Cedar Grove, 38. A very low-scoring game. Sandy Creek finished 29-3. They became the first boys program to win 3 straight championships since West Side Augusta did it. In the 3A girls, Cherokee Bluff out of Fiery Branch, 66. Baldwin out of Millersville, 58. Claire Carlson and Bristol Kirsch combined for 12 points in the fourth quarter. Carlson finished with 23 points and Kirsch 22. 1A Division I, Best Academy out of Atlanta, 62. Southwest Macon 56. Jacob Mitchell and Mikhail, and Joshua Mikhail, twins, combined for 31 points. 1A Division girls, Fannin County 51, Banks County 42. Private school, Holy Innocents out of Atlanta 84 defeated North Cobb Christian 84 to 45. Caleb Thompson, who is committed to UNC and is the state's #1 senior prospect, scored 33 points on 14 to 22 shooting. Also had 13 boards, 3 blocks, and 3 assists. Holy Innocents girls also won the state championship, defeating Hebron Christian 57 to 39. Haley Swain had 30 points, most of any player in the girls' finals. She is a McDonald's All-American and is the state's top-rated senior girl. 2A boys, Butler 57, Union County 49, Savannah 58, McIntosh County Academy 52. Division 1A, Division 2 girls, Wilcox finished 28-1 with a 72 to 48 win over Washington Wilkes. And that is all of our high school boys and girls championship scores. Congratulations, major congratulations to all those who took home the crown this year.
Big time play right there. And to finish up the last high school for the year, Hardaway High in Columbus, Georgia have won their first state championship. They beat Murray County in Macon, Georgia, 47 to 34. Congrats to Coach Kelly Ellison for a well-coached season. And also shout out to Coach Mills, who I actually know who he is. I've met him before, who was named Athletic Director of the Year. So tremendous achievement for all of these high schools. Let me go ahead and give y'all a little bit of applause. I got to do this for y'all. Great job for all the young men in Atlanta, Columbus, Georgia, the state of Georgia, for their high school championship wins. We really are excited about y'all going into next year. But guess what? We still got a lot more high school for the year, so we'll come back to y'all a little bit later. Let's get into some college basketball now. Jordan, go ahead and break us up in regards to the HBCUs for Georgia.
Yes, sir. In the SIAC tournament, which is where all of our Georgia HBCUs are in that particular conference, in the quarterfinals, Tuskegee beat Albany State 70 to 68. Central State ended Morehouse's season 77 to 70. Savannah State 63, Miles 61, and Clark 77, Kentucky State 72. In the semifinals, Savannah State kept advancing, beating Central State 53 to 48, and Tuskegee ended Clark's season with a 68-46 win. Savannah State did take home the crown 67 to 66, so we did have a Georgia HBCU win the championship, and Quay King of Savannah State was the tournament's most valuable player. He was joined on the all-tournament team by AJ Plain and Javante Landy, 2 of his teammates.
All right. For the Bulldogs, UGA, they finished their regular season with a 4-game winning streak. They beat Vanderbilt 79-68. Really happy how they finish up the season. The SEC tournament is next up for them. I believe they play Oklahoma off the top of my head. Then we got Selection Sunday. So right now it looks like I hate to use the word shoe in. I think they're in, but that's just me. I think they're in. So definitely excited for the tournament coming up. So congrats to UGA. Columbus State University, the men's team. Now they were dealt a blow as they lose in their conference tournament to USC Beaufort in a close one, 91-87. They finished the season 26-4. So right now they're going to be waiting for their Selection Sunday to see where they stand in regards to their Division II basketball championship run. That's going to start on March 15th, by the way. The ladies, they earned an at-large bid for their Southeastern tournament as the 5th seed. They have a 20-8 record, and they're going to be going for their 4th championship, believe it or not. So for both the girls and guys Columbus State University team, good luck. Hopefully y'all bring that championship home. Let's go ahead and merge into some more Atlanta sports. The Atlanta Vibe, our volleyball team. Now, they were fresh off a 3-game losing streak, unfortunately, but since then they've won 2 in a row. First against the Vegas Thrill at home at Gas South Arena, 3-2. Last year's MVP, Leah Edmond, had 27 points and 2 aces, and Morgan Hintz chipped in with 18 digs and 5 assists. Then they won against the Indy Ignite 3-1. Pia Timmer had 31 attacks, 7 kills, 6 digs, and 2 assists for that win. Now, remember, this is a professional volleyball team, y'all. They're repping Atlanta. Have you been to watch them play yet at Gas South? You need to do that. So your next chance is March 15th against the San Diego Mojo. Go support them. The Atlanta Gladiators, guess where they play? Also, Gas South Arena. They're a pro hockey team in Atlanta, if you didn't know. They recently lost their most recent game to the Toledo Wale 5-2. Carson Diamoni and Randy Hernandez had a goal apiece, actually. Make sure you go and support them, too. Guess what? They next play March 14th against the South Carolina Stingrays at 7:30. So make sure you let them know Around the ATL sent you to go watch that. Jordan, we have another Atlanta team to talk about. They kick the ball instead of sliding it around. Who is that?
Yes, sir. That would be the Atlanta United Football Club, Atlanta United FC. Unfortunately, their last match ended in a 0-0 draw against the New York Red Bulls. I guess the key stat in that game was Atlanta had 6 shots on goal and New York 0. But unfortunately, Atlanta could not convert any of those shots on goal, and the match did end in a draw, Chris.
That's messed up. Let's see. College Park Skyhawks. They're always doing a little something there in Atlanta. We always get to see some of the players get to the Atlanta Hawks as well. So what have they been doing lately, Jordan?
Well, they've actually turned it around and had a much better week this week than they had the previous week. They had a 2-game set against the 905 Raptors. They won the first game of that set 120-117. Jacob Toppin led the Skyhawks with 27 points. Nikola Duricic, our second-round pick from last year, has 6 points and 2 assists. Then they also took the second game against the 905 Raptors, 134-127. Kevon Harris led the Skyhawks with 35 points. Duricic had a bounce-back game with 24 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds on 9 of 17 shooting. And Jacob Toppin had 16 points and 12 rebounds in that particular ball game. They also had a third game this past week, defeating the Delaware Bluecoats 124-120. So just like the Atlanta Hawks, the College Park Skyhawks are on a 3-game winning streak. Jacob Toppin again led the Skyhawks with 32 points in that game. Dwight Murray Jr. had 17 points and 17 assists with just 2 turnovers, which is quite impressive. Nikola Duricic had 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. And Daquan Plowden, who we've seen up with the big club a little bit, had just 7 points on 1 of 5 shooting from 3. The 3 straight wins give the Skyhawks a 15-11 record. That is good for 6th in the Eastern Division, Chris.
Before we end, I might ask you to follow up on Jacob Toppin and talk about him just a little bit, so keep that in mind. Let's talk Columbus Storm. Back in Columbus, Georgia, Coach Brad has the guys playing pretty hard early in the season. Remember, they are the defending APDFL champions from a year ago. But this time, however, they did take a loss to the Seville Chiefs, 31-7. Now, on the defensive side, you got Deterian Davis, who had 5 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, 1 sack, and 1 fumble recovery. So he was doing what he could. On special teams, he had Kobe Collins, had 3 returns for 70 yards, 23 yards per average. And also on the offense, you had Cordell Johnson, who stood out with 20 carries for 108 yards, had a touchdown. He also had 3 catches for 17 yards. But again, they did lose, so they dropped to 2-1 on the season. Their next home game will be March 15th at Garrett Harrison Stadium against the Murfreesboro Tar Heels. So make sure you go and buy your tickets and make sure you support them. The Columbus River Dragons, they most recently split their 2 games with the Carolina Thunderbirds at Winston-Salem. The first game they won 7-6. Kyle Moore had a goal and 3 assists. Ryan Hunter had 2 goals. But in the second game, they lost 4-1. Now, interesting enough, I do want to mention this. They have a Legends Night coming up on March 15th. What is that? That's where players from both the Columbus Cottonmouths and the River Dragons will be in attendance. And the Cottonmouths, if a lot of fans remember, they were the team from back in the day in Columbus, and they actually have a couple of championships. So if you want to meet some of the old guys, make sure you show up on March 15th before the game. They will be there. Last but not least, the Columbus Lions, the Arena League football team here in Columbus, they just destroyed, and I gotta say this, I had to look at it twice to make sure I was right. They destroyed Peach State 85-0. You heard right. So remember, the Lions are the defending league champions too from a year ago as well. They play at the Columbus Civic Center, and their next game is March 21st. So make sure you go and support them as well. It's a great football team to watch. I've been to a couple of their games. Jordan, we've got a few minutes. Can you tell us a little bit about Jacob Toppin and how do you think he can – do you think he has a chance to make the team at a certain point? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I guess he always has a chance. What happened was center forward Dominique Barlow was given an NBA contract, basically upgraded from a two-way contract to a standard NBA contract. So that left the Hawks with an open two-way contract spot, and they signed Jacob Toppin to fill that spot. Jacob Toppin is the brother of Indiana Pacers forward Obi Toppin. He was with the New York Knicks before being waived and Atlanta signing him. And he didn't play a lot with the New York Knicks, but with their G League affiliate, he was averaging 25.2 points, 8.3 rebounds, 4.1 assists, a little bit under a block and under a steal per game. So, like I said, undrafted guy out of Kentucky. But he has a chance, I think, especially with what we've seen out of him so far at College Park, to, maybe work his way up. He should definitely be on the team and get an invite in the training camp next off season, and that'll give him a real chance to compete head-to-head with the guys on the big club.
I just had to ask this because of the production he's given us so far. I mean, every little bit counts right now at this point of the season. So, guys,
he also has good length, being 6'9" as well. And, we could always use those forwards that could play that power forward, maybe a little small forward as well. That's something that we could always use with the Atlanta Hawks, sir.
Exactly. Well, again, guys, we have fun tonight on our 8th episode here on SportsVisions 92.1 FM on Around the ATL. We hope you did too. Please tell others about us. Atlanta, Georgia, Columbus, Georgia. You're in Texas. You're in Australia. You're in London. You're in Brazil. You're in China. You're in Germany. There's all kinds of people listening to the show I'm starting to see. You can keep up with future shows on SportsVisions 92.1 FM on the TuneIn app. You can also visit the imtmworldwideradio.com website as well. Don't forget, in Columbus or in Atlanta, if you have a need to get somewhere in the city, call Southern Classic Transportation, 404-291-0150, ask for Dennis, or visit the website, southernclassictransportation.com. And also, if you need photos, go to imtmworldwideimages.com or call 706-393-8426 and let them know Around the ATL sent you. Jordan, any last words, sir?
Just want to thank everybody once again for listening to Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1. But last but not least, shout out to my mom who's recovering from cancer treatments. Last but not least, I want to thank God for giving me this breath that I breathe to talk about these Atlanta, these Georgia sports that I love. Peace up, A-Town down.
Until next week, next Thursday, 7 o'clock on SportsVisions 92.1 FM. Always be watching, always be listening Around the ATL.
Dribble, pass, throw, catch, hit, slide, grab, respect, around the ATL. Dribble, pass, throw, catch, hit, slide, grab, respect. This is ATL, you know we stay lit. Always united, check the new kit. Home of the praise, yeah, we on deck. We fly like a bird, like them Hawks, check. Soaring through the city, rise up, dirty birds. All we do is win, losing's a dirty word. Selling out them seats, the city is on blast. Gotta get your tickets cause they selling out.